When people think of simulation, they typically think of like the car accidents and all the really big, like, someone's been stabbed, someone's been shot. But to have sort of that one-on-one with someone who's just quite lonely, just has some social issues, was really powerful.
So welcome to Series 4 of the Student Connect podcast. I'm Curtis, an esports student at the University of Staffordshire.
And I'm Jade, a sports therapy student, and I'm standing in as a co-host today. And we're your student hosts of the Student Connect podcast. This podcast is created in association with the University of Staffordshire and hosted by us, student content creator team. It is a student-led podcast which shares the experiences of students progressing through university education and inviting experts from a variety of life topics.
So we'll be speaking with students from all over the University of Staffordshire about the extracurricular experience that university could bring to your employability and just your life skills in general. So if you have any further questions or you want to know a little bit more, just go to staff.ac.uk and everything's on there for you to have a little nosy.
And please take a moment to leave a review or a like wherever you're listening to help others find us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe.
Along the way, we'll be able to share our honest stories. We might be a little bit too honest sometimes, to explore the full experience that university has to offer. We're going to be taking turns asking these two Paramedic Science students, about their experience. So let's get started.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So today we are very excited to be our open day at the Centre for Health Innovation on our Stafford campus at the University of Staffordshire.
The Centre for Health Innovation is a hub of healthcare excellence and expertise, bringing together students, academic experts and industry practitioners, transforming teaching for thousands of health-related students. It is also creating new opportunities for regional healthcare practices.
As we're in a public space, there may be some noise from passerbys, but they're just curious students as well.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. Let's go and meet Hermione and Sophie. Hello, both.
Hello.
Can you just start by introducing yourselves for me? My name's Jade. Welcome to the podcast as well.
Thank you. So I'm Hermione. I'm a third year student paramedic here at Staffs.
Nice to meet you.
So I'm Sophie, I'm also a third year student paramedic at Staffs.
Okay, brilliant. Can you please tell us about an open day at Centre of Health Innovation and let us know what students can expect on the day?
Yeah, so there's a lot of talking to ourselves as students rather than just talking to lecturers, as I know Staffs likes to get the student perspective rather than just stood there talking to some lecturers. So students normally come in, we'll mingle around for about half an hour, have a chat with groups individually so they can ask some more personal questions if need be.
Yeah.
And then we normally do a bit of a welcome talk and they talk a little bit about Staffs and what it has to offer. And then we'll usually do a bit of a showcase. So today we've got an RTC showcase going on.
Yeah, you usually do that. I've been to an open day before and it was really good. Could you describe what a typical day looks like for a paramedic student here?
So, usually we've got a split between university and placement. So for half the year we're at university and we'll learn stuff like pathophysiology, pharmacology, a lot of the sort of laws and professional standards. And then we'll go out on the road, so actually getting that hands-on experience. So we've got 2 7-week blocks where we're doing shifts out on the road, which is quite good. And then we'll work sort of a variety of day shifts, night shifts, and really getting the full experience.
It really brings it more real then, doesn't it?
Definitely,
yeah. Because you can sort of you learn all the theory in the classroom, and then you get that chance to practice it out on the road, which I think is quite valuable.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, to be honest. Because I was speaking to some paramedics not long ago for the graduations, and they said about going out on the road and the experience that they get from that.
Definitely,
which is important. Yeah. Okay, so this question's mostly for Hermione, but you can answer as well if you want, Sophie.
I'll leave
I don't really mind. So your inspiration to become a paramedic is really moving. How did your experience with your granddad's cardiac arrest shape your decision to pursue this path?
Yeah, so when I was 12, my granddad suffered a cardiac arrest and unfortunately passed away, but in the pre-hospital setting. he basically went to go drive like a car experience. It was a present my granny got him for Christmas. And yeah, he got halfway round. I think my granny went first, and then he got halfway round and experienced chest pain, and then went straight into cardiac arrest. Luckily, the driver who was with him was an ex-police officer, so he administered CPR straight away, called an ambulance, like knew what to do. Unfortunately, the paramedics did everything they could, and it just didn't bring him back, which was quite sad, like quite horrible for obviously all my family. It was the first sort of death we've experienced as a family as well, and it sort of just shaped how we felt. I could notice like over Christmases and birthdays that my granny was quite like distant and lonely. She lived with Grandad in Essex anyway, so it's quite far from where we are in the Midlands. So yeah, it was quite hard, and I always sort of wondered what the paramedics did and how it was managed, whether they did enough.
Yeah.
But now coming into the course, I kind of realised they did everything they could.
Yeah,
and
course,
the majority of pre-hospital cardiac arrests don't end well, unfortunately. And I'm kind of motivated to try and improve that and see how we can improve that by carrying out more research. And the paramedic free trials just come out. That's really interesting. So yeah, I want to try and help someone else and make sure their granddad doesn't suffer from that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's really nice that you took something positive from it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's inspired you to help others.
Yeah.
So it's, you know.
But definitely
Quite
like
inspirational.
yeah, but definitely like dealing with like loneliness as well. Obviously, Granny was on her own, and like seeing how down she was, but how well she's done now, it's amazing. I mean, she went on holiday on her own last year.
Yeah, that's
she's
brilliant.
planning on going on holiday again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really, really proud of her for overcoming that. But then also knowing how to deal with it within someone who might be struggling with their mental health, who's recently lost a partner.
Yeah.
It's a good aspect to have in the profession. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really proud of her,
definitely.
and like how all my mum and my dad have dealt with it as well.
Yeah, your granny sounds ace.
Yeah, she's 10 out of 10.
Okay, so I think initially, did you consider being a combat medic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So how did that background in the cadets help prepare you for the paramedic role?
Yeah, so in cadets, it was brilliant. I used to love all the first aid type things. I always remember one scene in particular. They shoved me at the front, typically. We were on a camp at the time, and so we sort of cleared all the area, and then we went into a scene, and I just remember looking around, and then somebody just came up to me screaming in my face. And basically what had happened, it was a car versus pedestrian on a cycle bike. And then, so basically we had to deal with that scene then. Like one person was having a cardiac arrest in one room,
Yeah.
another person was coming at you, running at you, screaming at you with
Yeah.
an arm hanging off.
What did you do though?
So I sort of tried to assign roles, and then I rang the ambulance and sort of gave the location of where we were, and then they came quite quickly. Well, it wasn't actually real. Can I just point that out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right, I get that.
But yeah, so we sort of managed the scene really well together. We worked really well as a team.
Yeah.
We all knew each other, so we just got on with it.
Do you prepare before, or do you just?
We just
It
walked
just
into it,
happens.
yeah, and they just shoved
Okay.
me at the front, and then I just remember we were calling at first, and then we sort of cleared all the scene, and then we just went in, and then I just remember someone coming up to me and started screaming at me. Yeah, we were in the middle of nowhere as well,
Sounds
in the
rough.
middle of this woods. Yeah, it was a bit mental, but that was on like our main army cadet base. And then we do like other first aid activities. So I definitely say I always sort of thought, oh, should I go into St John's? But I'm glad I didn't now, because I'm glad I had that army experience.
Yeah, and everybody's different, and everyone will have different experiences.
Yeah, 100%.
I used to be in the cadets when I was younger.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what it's like that. Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter about me. Sorry. Okay. So, what drew you guys to the University of Staffordshire?
You're quite good, actually, because you're from London.
Yeah, so it's quite a way away, really.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, to be fair, I just wanted somewhere a bit different. sort of just wanted to move away from home, like have that full university experience. And I don't know whether or not this is true, but I've heard someone say that the West Midlands is one of the best ambulance services for students.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's obviously a bonus.
Yeah.
But about the university, I think I heard a lot about like the simulation stuff, the hands-on experience you get here.
Yeah, that definitely draws you in, doesn't it?
Yeah, and sort of just like the variety of experiences you get. So, I mean, I've had loads of experiences myself, and I think it was just listening to other students tell me about their experiences here as well. So
Yeah, that's good.
that's typically, that's why I came in.
Yeah, I'm quite similar really. It's quite close to home. That was one thing for me. I wanted to stay at home.
Yeah.
To save some money and go travelling. So I've been able to do that whilst studying here, which has been really good. So
Yeah.
I've recently come back from Africa, did a medical placement out there.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that was
I'm jealous.
yeah, really, really good. But yeah, the facilities, I think as soon as I walked in here, I just knew it was a place for me. It just felt so welcoming.
Yeah.
All the students were lovely. Everybody was happy for you to ask a question. It was really, really nice. Really nice vibe.
Well, brilliant, thank you. What has been the most memorable or impactful simulation or hands-on experience that you have had so far?
So I'd say it was actually a pretty recent one. So the other week we were in the skills lab, and they brought in like paid actors. So I don't know if they were paid, but they brought in actors.
Service users.
I'm assuming they were paid.
We hope they are, because they're brilliant.
Yeah, they brought in some actors, and I remember this one guy that we had was an elderly gentleman, and it was sort of around the theme of mental health and stuff like that. And we got chatting to him, and turns out his wife had just passed, and he was really lonely. And it was like he started crying and everything, like he was thrown on the full shebang. And it was just quite, I think everyone was quite touched by that.
Yeah.
Because when people think of simulation, they typically think of like the car accidents and all the really big, like, someone's been stabbed, someone's been shot.
Yeah.
But to have sort of that one-on-one with someone who's just quite lonely, just has some social issues, was really powerful. And I think that's quite a good skill to have, to be able to talk to people like that, because that's like 60% of what we go out to on the road is just social issues, people who are lonely, elderly people.
It's interesting that you say that, because you are right. I think typically people do think car accidents and crimes like that, because I do. And so, but I didn't realise it was, there was more deeper.
So only a small portion of like what we go out to is actually the major trauma stuff and like the cardiac arrests and stuff. Most of it's just like I said, people with social issues, people.
I think it's 5% that's actually trauma.
Yeah,
and
something really small like that.
Really small percentage. Which is surprising for a lot of people, but obviously in the situation we're in nowadays, the hospitals are all blocked. You can't get a doctor's appointment. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to phone 111 like we're all advised. And then they deem it to call an ambulance, and then we're sort of dealing the primary issue, trying to decide, okay, this person doesn't need to go to hospital, but it's a night shift. What are we going to do with them type thing? Where are we going to refer them? So it can be difficult at times, but I think what Sophie said is really, really like hit the nail on the head basically, that it's not all cardiac arrests. And we do these shows because obviously we do go out to things like that and it is a possibility. But to look at the bigger picture, you're actually there to help someone in need. It could be a mental health job, it could be an alcoholic, but why are they drinking? Like, what support do they need? It's all about looking at the bigger picture. We're a bit like detectives. We go around searching for clues.
And it sounds really like rewarding as well.
Definitely.
Do you feel like a sense of pride after? You feel like really proud of yourselves for doing it?
Sometimes it feels like you don't always get the result you want, just because I feel like there's not enough services out there. So sometimes you're sort of stuck and you sort of feel like you've just passed someone on to someone else and you've not really got anywhere. But a lot of the time, when you just get to have that chat with someone and you can see that they're just a little bit happier after you've talked to them, that really hits deep, because it's like you've made that small impact. And I think a lot of people underestimate how much of an impact just talking to someone and just looking at them and just
definitely.
like them being seen has.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say it is quite.
Yeah.
I do feel that sense of pride.
I think there's like a few jobs where you do think, I could have done more.
Yeah.
But then you really look at the picture and you're like, what more could I have done, basically.
Yeah.
But you do get the odd job where you think, I think I really helped that person. There's definitely ones that stand out for me. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's
That
okay.
was a really nice answer. Okay, guys, so how do these simulations prepare you for real world situations as a paramedic?
Okay, so obviously we spoke a little bit about trauma in the past one. So we did a major incident in year one. I remember helping out. So the first half, I was sort of like an actor for the one half of our year group. And then the other half, I actually went in as a paramedic, but they changed the whole scenario. I didn't get off that easy, unfortunately. But yeah, it was quite intense. We walked in and there was like a concert crushing. So they said it was like an ABBA concert. There was one person that was actually set in a role to sort of try and distract you. They'd take your kit, they'd scream in your face. It was like quite intense.
Yeah.
Obviously the whole aim of that person was for somebody to remove them, sit them down and calm them down. But there was that much going on. I think there was about 12 people lying on the floor. One had an abdo injury, one was dead. Like, it was really intense and preparing us for those real situations. And obviously no situation like that's going to be easy to deal with. We've all seen like the Manchester bombings, the Grenfell Tower fire, and I think you just have to go in and do your absolute best to deal with the situation at hand.
Yeah.
But these simulations prepare you to what it's really like. I know quite a few people got quite emotional and found it really difficult, which is okay, which is understandable. Because in a real life situation, I could just imagine how horrible it is to walk into that scene. But yeah, definitely prepared us for the future. And like these RTCs and things, we always get the majority of the time we have service users in, like Sophie spoke about, and they're brilliant, really good at playing the role. They all sort of have their own little backstories. So one lady, I think she had a stroke and now she can still do the stroke facial movement.
Oh, really?
Which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really, really good to have those people in who know what it's like and has experienced similar things.
It sounds like it's as real as it can get.
Basically, yeah.
And I think, like I said before, out on the road we don't always get that exposure to trauma and lots sort of those really, those really like crazy stuff that you hear about. But when we're doing sims, we get to practice those skills that we might not get to practice out on the road. So for example, like major incidents, like needle crikes, like a lot of the stuff that paramedics would hardly ever see in their career, you get to practice it in the skills labs, which I think is quite helpful.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps you up to date with the skills as well. So
Definitely, yeah, because the main fear for a paramedic is to de-skill. You don't want to lose those skills and then have to need them, and then you can't do it, basically. That's the worst thing.
You never want to get to like a really crap job and like there's loads of people who really need your help and you're just like, I practiced this skill like 5 years ago and like forget what you're doing.
So do you have to do it like sometimes over and over again and like repetitive?
I mean,
we went to the West Midlands care team session on Thursday actually, and we practiced needle crike. So that's
surgical airways as well, which was quite good because that's. I mean, we're not allowed to do that specifically unless we train for it.
What is it again?
So it's like where you just cut through their throat basically, and then like shove a tube down there. It's not. It's not very nice. And it's quite brutal as well. You're literally using your fingers to like rip apart this person's neck.
But that's sort of like CCP criteria, so critical care. As a paramedic, the only thing you can really do is put a cannula in their needle crike, and that's it.
That's still like a big deal.
It is, and not many paras do it.
No, it's such a rare because it's a pretty last resort skill. So unless you've exhausted everything, you wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, your interventions do work, so
Yeah.
you hardly get to
That's
use
all
that.
right,
On,
then.
yeah.
You've
Yeah,
got good
yeah.
chances of not needing it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, yeah.
Thankfully, yeah.
But it's good to know like what those CCPs need from us.
Yeah.
So that they were sort of saying to us, just go. And if we can meet you on the way, we'll meet you on the way. But if not, just go, do your needle crike and get them to hospital, because that's where they're going to be
Yeah.
needed, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, are there any upcoming simulations or collaborative projects that you're looking forward to?
I think we're just about to do one.
Yeah, so we got one today.
Yeah.
The open days are brilliant, especially the offer holder days, because we like to get the students involved. And those simulations are really good. But yeah, we always do the nice RTC car.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Cardiac arrest as well next to it.
Yeah.
I think this lady's pregnant as well, so she's the one, from what I've heard, she's the one who crashes the car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then she hits a pedestrian, and the pedestrian goes into
It's
cardiac
a bit
arrest.
different this time then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've not seen that one yet. So.
Oh,
It's my
okay.
first time doing
Okay,
it,
yeah.
But then I think from what I've heard, we get to pass the pregnant lady on to the midwives.
Yeah.
So we sort of get to see a bit of what the midwives would do
Yeah,
afterwards.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then they deliver the baby.
Oh, nice.
And then I don't know if we get police involved in this as well, but
Yeah, there has been simulations where you involve police and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Yeah, because then more of you come together then, because obviously here as well you've got people doing the midwives, the midwifery bit, because I've walked past the people with like the bellies and
Yeah,
in the rooms,
Yeah.
and they look scarily real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fair enough.
Lucinda is next level. If you've ever
Is
met
she the one with the
Lucinda.
brown hair?
Yeah.
I've met her.
It's a bit weird,
Yeah.
really.
She is a bit creepy.
Yeah.
But no, that sounds really interesting. I hope I get to watch it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely go in and have a watch.
What time does it start?
Might
It's a
be
good
about
question, I don't
10:30.
10:30.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you said you have to go.
Yeah, because we start at 10. Yeah, so
Okay. How has your time at university shaped your confidence in managing high stress situations?
I mean, it's just getting the hands-on experience, really. That's the only way you're going to improve your confidence and get better at stuff. So,
yeah, definitely.
like I've said before, the skills labs, the simulations, actually getting to be put in a situation. Because until you're put in that situation, you don't know how you're going to react.
Yeah.
You know, you might completely freak out, you might freeze, or you might just crack on with it and get on with it. But I always think confidence comes with experience. So if you've already been to something, the next time you go to that, you're like, actually, I've been to something similar, and I can apply what I've learned last time to this situation.
Yeah.
And that gives you that boost of confidence, like, this isn't totally new to me, this isn't totally strange.
So did it like grow over time then? Because I
Definitely,
would imagine if I was starting that course,
Yeah.
I would be really nervous at first.
Oh, absolutely.
I literally had, well, other than my army cadet days, no experience at all. It's first day out on the road. I remember sitting in my car thinking, just go home, don't go into the ambulance station, just go home. I was like, no, come on, you've come this far, you've got to go in.
Yeah.
And I did, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just has to grow over time, and it's really hard because first year you sort of feel, I'm never going to get to that third year spot.
Yeah, I bet it's hard at first.
And then before you know it, you're in the third year spot, and you're about to be a paramedic, and that's really, really scary.
Yeah.
But also amazing to know that you've achieved your goal. And
it must be a really nice feeling.
Definitely,
Like,
yeah.
you guys have done it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
are doing it, but you've done it.
Yeah.
We'll get there one day.
We'll get there.
One day.
Okay, so how have staff and lecturers at University of Staffordshire supported you throughout your studies?
Well, for starters, they're always there if you need them.
Yeah.
So, for example, not too long ago, I was really struggling with my ALS, which is sort of your cardiac arrest stuff.
Yeah.
And me and a couple of girls just went up to one of the lecturers and was like, listen, we just need help with this. Like, we've not done it in a long time. Can you come and help us out? And he went and took us to one of the skills labs and just run us through it and gave us a chance just to practice it.
Yeah.
And now my ALS is smashing, I'd say, well, hopefully.
We'll find out later.
If it wasn't for that lecturer coming to help us, I probably would have been in the same spot. So just, I mean, from what I've seen, they're all really willing to help you. You just need to go up to them and ask. And I think that shows with how much he helped me. Like, he literally went out of his way to come and help us all. Make the time for us. So really appreciated that. But I know a lot of the other lecturers have done similar stuff for other students as well. So yeah, they're very willing to help.
Yeah, they always say the door's always open. Like, whether it's 8 p.m. at night, you can send them an email. Obviously, they might not reply, but they will get back to you as soon as possible, type thing. They're all really brilliant. I couldn't fault one of them, to be honest. They're fantastic, and all the skills they have is amazing, and from different backgrounds as well. It's really, really good.
No, that's nice. I agree. I think it goes without saying that all the lecturers and probably all the staff, I think, at the university are really supportive, and
definitely
when you said doors always open, like, I hear that saying from staff all the time.
So drill it into us.
Please
come and see us if you need to.
And they always say, like, with assignments and things, they're happy to help at any time, just don't leave it till like the day before.
Or they have like too much in one go, don't they, for students to look at. But thank you for your answers. It was really nice to meet you both. I'm going to swap over with Curtis now, and Curtis is going to come and ask you some questions.
Brilliant.
So my first question for you guys is, how do you think the recognition of paramedics during COVID has influenced how the role is seen today?
Go on, Sophie, you're the COVID master.
For starters, I think paramedics have a lot more respect now. I think not a lot of people sort of knew much about paramedics, and then when COVID hit, obviously it was all over the news, and sort of everyone was like clapping for the NHS and stuff, and people saw sort of just how selfless paramedics can be, and how, like, I mean, they do put themselves at risk sometimes as well. So I think people sort of gained an awareness that actually being a paramedic isn't this really easy job. Like, it comes with its challenges. And then I think a lot of paramedics were also a lot more sort of self-aware about different risks that they might encounter out on the road and stuff.
I definitely think like hygiene procedures have gone up.
A lot of the policies have changed since COVID. Some for the better, some probably not, but a lot of stuff has changed in terms of like PPE and stuff. A lot of the airways stuff as well. Got anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, Sophie went out during COVID, so she was on placement during COVID. I just about missed it, thankfully, but I mean, I couldn't imagine how hard it was, especially in like a cardiac arrest situation when you know that person's dying and you're having to stand there, put a spacesuit on just to go in the house and then absolutely sweat yourself to death from doing CPR and doing everything you can to save possibly quite a young person with COVID. But
it kind of leads on to my next question. I was going to say, like, getting out on the road during placements, you know, being in those situations, how has that helped you connect the knowledge from like your education itself to those situations?
So a lot of what we learn in the classroom is very textbook. So like a patient will present with like the most textbook symptoms, like if they're having a heart attack, left-sided chest pain, going down the left arm, like it's all very textbook. And then when you get out on the road, you'll see someone with the most random sort of like symptoms ever. And you'll just be thinking like, this doesn't relate to what I've learned in the classroom. But I think that just comes with people being unique. And everyone's got like slightly different anatomy, and they'll experience pain differently. And so just being able to sort of take what you've learned in the classroom and just adapt it slightly to people, I think that's been quite useful, but also quite challenging, because it's, like I said, it's just so random, like some of the stuff people come out with. And
then you realise they're actually quite ill, and you're like, oh dear, why are you ill with that symptom? Sometimes you just come across the weirdest things, but that's the unique part of placement. Like, yes, you can learn how to deal with a typical chest pain patient, but what if they haven't got chest pain, and then your ECG is showing they're having a heart attack, and then you're like, this doesn't quite add up really. But yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you. So my next question, what kind of interprofessional learning have you been involved with from like other sectors of university, like forensics, that kind of thing?
We do a lot with the midwives and the nurses, I think.
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult to do things with the students at Stoke, just because we're on 2 different campuses. I know a few of our students went and teach the, I think it was the sports students, some CPR and things like that. So that was quite interesting. I didn't go, but I know some of them did. But yeah, we work a lot with the midwives, the nurses.
Yeah.
We have like midwives come and teach our sessions because our lecturers basically said we're not professionals at midwifery. So we're going to hand you over to a professional that will basically answer all your questions, and they're really good, really intelligent. But yeah, and like days like today, we'll work with the midwife. So our pregnant lady in the car is actually going to be handed over to a midwife. We work with quite a lot of interprofessional disciplinaries, quite a lot, to be fair.
I think we had a talk from one of the child nurses the other week as well.
Yes, yeah.
About retrievals, which is something that I didn't know about before that. So yeah, that was really helpful. So it sort of just helps you gain an understanding of what everyone else does.
And also, like, what happens to the patient when they go to hospital, like...
Because the patient always asks you, what the hospital going to do for me? What's this person going to do? So just having that awareness is really good, because it helps you out.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be a paramedic. Okay, so my next question is, what has it been like working with the advanced facilities that we have on campus, like the simulation labs and the centre itself?
It's been quite good. I mean, it just helps it make it a bit more realistic. So like we've got a car in there, which really helps if we're doing like RTC stuff.
The roof comes off. Thanks, engineering team.
But it just, because I mean, otherwise you just got to imagine it, and I mean, imagination can only go so far.
And and also in like the submersive suite, you can make it as loud or as quiet as you want. So it could literally be as loud as you were on the M6 type thing, which plays a big role into our job, because human factors is really, really big for us. Obviously, we can deal with it in a nice, calm environment, but you add a screaming person and loads of noise.
Yeah, that's like the realistic part.
Yeah, exactly. And people taking pictures around you, then that's the scene that you don't really adapt to.
Oh, that's scary. I couldn't be doing that. Right, so my final question is, what's something unique about studying paramedic science that stands out to you and would encourage prospective students to have an idea?
What's that thing that everybody says? We're
really gonna watch this now. The master, what is it? The jack of all trades, but the master of none. That's it.
Yeah. So we can do everything, but we're not good at everything type thing.
We sort of can do a little bit about everything.
Every little thing. Yeah. So if you want to sort of look into going into everything, then come to us. And we're the best anyway, so I have to add
Just
that.
Put it out there.
But yeah, like we can treat anything. We're not specific, so we're not like a children's nurse. We go out to children, we go out to maternities, we go out to
Literally
adults,
everything.
we go out to everything.
It's just such a weird and wonderful role. I mean, like just being able to go into someone's house and just chat to them and see what they're doing is just, you don't really get that with any other job.
Definitely.
So yeah, it's definitely really unique. And I think everyone always says it, but no day is the same. So it just sort of keeps it ticking and keeps your role varied. So I'd probably say that's my favourite thing about it.
I think you have to be like a special sort of person to be a paramedic as well.
Yeah.
Like you have to want to not be in that sort of hospital environment and want to be on the go every day. But yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been lovely speaking to you.
You too.
Thank you so much for joining us today and giving us such an insightful look into life as paramedic students here at University of Staffordshire. It's incredible to hear how the collaborative spirit and hands-on learning experiences, whether through simulations, shared facilities or interprofessional projects, are shaping the students here into future healthcare professionals ready to make a real impact on the world.
So to all our listeners, we hope this episode has given you a good glimpse into the amazing opportunities provided at the University of Staffordshire and this supportive and inclusive community we're so proud to have. Whether you're interested in paramedic science, healthcare or any other field, there's always a place for you to grow, connect and prepare for whatever comes next.
Thank you for tuning in to the Student Connect podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, your potential is limitless.
So we'd like to say thank you to all our listeners, thank you Jade, you've
okay.
done a great job today.
Thank you, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you to our guests, Hermione and Sophie, for putting on a good show. They told me so much stuff I didn't know.
It's really interesting.
So thank you to the University of Staffordshire Media Centre, the podcast producer and the production editor for doing everything behind the scenes that I don't think I could manage. If you'd like to be a guest yourself, please give us a DM on social media, and to find further support at the university itself, please visit staffs.ac.uk or just visit your Student Connect team. Leave a review, we love to know what you think and how we can improve, and just be nice to us, please.
Yeah, talk to us.
So this is where we say goodbye for now.
Yes.
So should we do a big wave?
Okay.
We'll do a big wave.
See you next time.
Bye.